Chapter 1 The Little God of Wealth in Luoyue Town. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luoyue Town. Shaoli, why are you, the boss, free to work today? Well, yes, I want to help out when I'm bored. Li Taixing smiled bitterly. It had been 10 years since he came to this fantasy world from soul traveling, but he was not as lucky as others. After soul traveling, he only transferred his soul to a dead child and used his body to be reborn. Fortunately, his family still has a bun shop. Through his efforts over the years, his bun shop has been very prosperous and has even opened many branches. Moreover, he has invented many practical tools and furniture items. It also brought great convenience to people, and he also made a lot of money, so he didn't have to worry about food and clothing. He is even called the little god of wealth in Luoyue Town. However, no one knew that after he came to this world, he had a dream of cultivating immortality. But the thing is, he's just an ordinary human being. It is so difficult to embark on the path of cultivating immortality. Shaoli, tomorrow the immortal masters of Xuantian Sect will come to recruit disciples. You are 18 years old, so why not give it a try? If you succeed, you may be able to embark on the path to immortality. At this time, old man Li joked. Li Taixing's eyes lit up. This was a good opportunity. Moreover, he also had this idea, so he nodded and said, okay. Early the next morning, the sound of gongs and drums rang out in the town. The immortal master is here. Children who meet the age requirements, hurry up and gather in the square. If you are chosen by the immortal master, you can go to practice immortality. In the Li family's residence. Son, do you really want to go? Father, mother, I also want to become an immortal. Hey, it's a pity that for all your hard work over the years, others say you are a business wizard. Even the richest man in our town wants to marry his daughter to you. Mom, thank you, Mr. Ma. However, I still want to cultivate immortality. Even if the road is dangerous, I am willing to go. Li Taihang shuddered when he thought of Mr. Ma's daughter. Hey, the child has grown up. Father Li sighed and said. What about your property? Mother Li asked worriedly. Mom, don't worry, my brother has taught me a lot over the years, I should be fine. Besides, my brother may not be able to do it yet. Li Taixing said, he is Li Taihang's younger brother. Their family also has a younger sister, Li Taimei. Ah Cheng, if you look down on your brother so much, be careful I beat you. Li Taixing pretended to be angry, and coupled with his big size, it really scared Li Taixing. Woo! Li Taixing was frightened. Ha ha ha. Li Taihang said goodbye to his family and headed to the square. In the square, Li Taihang is the tallest among all the children, so he is particularly eye-catching. The little god of wealth is here. No, does he want to participate too? I heard that the richest man, Ma, wants to marry his daughter to him. What do you know? Isn't it good for people to cultivate immortality? Besides, if he could live forever, wouldn't he make more money? That's right. Okay, all the children who meet the age requirements can come and take a test. An old man with a fairy-like manner said with a serious face. Suddenly, many children did not dare to speak anymore, and lined up one after another. They walked to a crystal ball one by one, stretched out their hands, and put it on. Li Taihang had understood that this was a crystal ball for testing spiritual roots. Only children who met the requirements could join. Xuantian Sect's requirements were not high. As long as they had spiritual roots, they could participate in the Sect's assessment. The Xuantian Sect in front of us is also the most famous immortal cultivating sect near Luoyue Town. Many children are squeezing their heads to join this sect. However, it is not easy to enter. Those who have no spiritual roots don't want it. I don't know if I have spiritual roots. In fact, Li Taihang wanted to test his spiritual roots a long time ago. However, he heard that spiritual roots are not born until the age of 13 to 18, and this kind of the crystal ball used for testing is extremely rare and cannot be purchased. Therefore, Li Taihang still doesn't know whether he has spiritual roots. Now, he is 18 years old, and this is his last chance. If he passes the spiritual root test, he will definitely get the opportunity to join the Xuantian sect. Plop tom, plop tom. Li Taixing looked at the children in front of him. Some had tested spiritual roots, and some had not. Those who had tested positive were overjoyed, while those who had not tested had frustrated faces. At this time, Li Taixing's heart was beating fast and he was very nervous. Soon after, it was Li Taihang's turn. How old are you? Back to Immortal Master, my name is Li Taihang, I am 18 years old. Oh. The old man saw that he was the tallest among the children, so he was a little curious. Moreover, he had also heard about Li Taixing's deeds, and he was a little expert in making money. Moreover, some changes in Xiantian sect also came from this boy. I learned from them, for example, the existence of bunk beds. Relying on it, they dared to recruit more disciples this time, otherwise, there would not be enough beds available. Put your hand up. Thinking of this, the old man also had a good impression of Li Taixing and said with a smile. Good. Li Taixing was very nervous and scared at this time, so much so that beads of sweat began to form on his forehead. As a famous figure in Luoyue town, he also attracted the attention and expectations of many children, and even aroused their discussions. However, Li Taixing's mind was blank at this time, and he did not hear what they were saying. Staring at the crystal ball nervously, and slowly stretched out his hand. Gulu. Li Taixing swallowed secretly. This is my last chance. I must have spiritual roots. Even the worst spiritual roots will be fine. So, Li Taixing stretched out his hand and pressed it down hard. He closed his eyes and did not dare to look at the crystal ball again, fearing that it would not light up. At this time, the old man stared at the crystal ball and sang, Li Taihang, spiritual root. You must have spiritual roots. Don't be without spiritual roots. The gods and goddesses from all over the world bless me. I will burn incense and paper money as a tribute. Thank you to all the gods and gods. You do have spiritual roots, but they are first-grade non-attribute spiritual roots. The old man was suddenly a little stunned. He did not expect to encounter such a bad spiritual root. I have spiritual roots. Well, it's just a rare non-attribute spiritual root. This kind of spiritual root is either good or bad. The old man sighed. You mean, I have a chance to join your sect? Li Taihang was very excited and looked at the old man with expectation. There is a chance, but... It's great if you have the chance, thank you Immortal Master. Li Taixing said excitedly. As for the road to cultivating immortality, no matter how difficult it is, he will overcome it. Perhaps feeling Li Taixing's determination, the old man sighed and said, Young man, you have to think clearly that non-attributed spiritual roots are the most difficult to cultivate, because we do not have the cultivation method to match yours. It's okay, as long as I'm allowed to embark on the path of cultivating immortality, I'm willing to sacrifice everything for my cultivation, even if I risk my own life. Li Taihang said resolutely. The old man was very surprised. But he smiled bitterly and shook his head. Okay, since you insist on this, come to Xiantian sect to report in 3 days. The old man said, took out a wooden sign with Li Taihang's name engraved on it, and said, This is your identity, please keep the card well. Only when everyone and everything are here can you enter Xiantian sect. Yes, thank you Immortal Master. Well, next one. Chapter 2 Dimensional Space Bag. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding! A traveler has been detected, and the traveler's attributes have begun to be detected. Ding! Host, Li Taihang, gender, male, age, 18, spiritual root, no attributes, grade, first grade, evaluation, trash. Ding! The main body of the system is missing. This system has equipped the host with a 10 billion times amplification effect of the dimensional space bag *1 and a storage ring *10 billion, no restrictions on the use of objects. Ding! The items obtained by the host in the future only need to be placed in this dimensional space bag, and the system will automatically amplify them by 10 billion times. The amplification effect depends on the item, and living things cannot be amplified. Ding! Reminders on the use of the dimensional space bag. Point 1. Items obtained by non-hosts cannot be amplified, and borrowed items cannot be amplified. Point 2. The same item that has been amplified cannot be amplified again unless the number is less than or equal to 1. Point 3. It can be used to store all non-living things, cannot be dropped, cannot be transferred, can only be seen by itself, and can be flexibly used in combat scenes. Li Taihang returned home and was about to share with his family the news that he could join Xuantian's sect, but he suddenly heard the voice of the system, which made him stunned on the spot. System. A dimensional space bag with a billion-fold amplification. Is it so awesome? Li Taihang also suddenly felt a little heavy around his waist. He looked down and found a dimensional space bag hanging around his waist, and suddenly became excited. Li Taihang was very excited and said, "Then give me a boost." Li Taihang touched the copper coin to the dimensional space bag, and the copper coin disappeared immediately. Ding! The billion-fold amplification was successful. Congratulations on getting copper coins *10 billion. Li Taihang touched the dimensional space bag and saw a copper coin, but in the upper right corner of the copper coin, the words 10 billion appeared. He originally thought that there would be a scene of 10 billion copper coins piled up, but it seemed that he thought too much, so, he took out 10 copper coins at once, and the corresponding copper coin value began to decrease. I roughly understand. Li Taihang suddenly thought that he was going to cultivate immortality, and it might be difficult for him to come down the mountain in the future, so he decided to go to the town to buy a lot of supplies. Anyway, they could be multiplied by 10 billion times, so he bought everything he could buy, including food, clothing, and daily necessities. Suddenly, his dimensional space bag was full of various supplies. In the future, even if he had a bad life in Xiantian's sect, he could make his life more comfortable through the 10 billion times increase. With these mundane things, Li Taihang was more confident. In the evening, Li Taihang returned home, but found that his parents, younger brother, and younger sister were staring at him with strange eyes. Even Li's mother was a little worried. She walked to Li Taihang and stroked his forehead. "Son, are you okay?" "Mom, I'm fine. I heard from your second aunt that you went to the needlework shop and bought a lot of needlework items." "Ah." Li Taihang was also very embarrassed, because he did buy them. He bought a set of each one, no matter what it was, and used them as gifts. After all, some women like to use such things to dress themselves up. Anyway, he has a lot of copper coins. "Brother, why did you buy needlework items?" Li Taimei stared at Li Taihang with some curiosity. "Of course I bought this for you. After all, I'm leaving, so I have to give you some gifts, right?" Li Taihang immediately found an excuse. "Huh, that's great. I just ran out of the ones I used before. Do you have any cheek powder?" "Of course." "Okay, let's talk about business. I heard that my son has been selected." Father Li coughed lightly and interrupted their conversation. "Yes. Taihang, you are the best in our Li family, but after you go to cultivate immortality, if you have the chance, remember to come back home to visit, understand?" "Yes, Dad, Mom, I will." Li Taihang suddenly felt sad. "Brother, don't worry, after you go to cultivate immortality, my sister and I will take good care of Dad and Mom, and the things you left for us are enough for us to have food and clothing." "Yes, brother, you must practice well. Anyway, we are not interested in cultivating immortality." Li Taiching prefers the feeling of galloping in business like Li Taihang, while Li Taimei enjoys the life with her family now. As for cultivating immortality, in their eyes, that kind of life is too boring. "Okay, then I'll leave the family to you." "Yeah." That night, everyone ate with a heavy heart, but they were comforting Li Taihang, fearing that he would think too much. The next morning, because he had to hurry on his way, Li Taihang had to start arranging the family's funeral affairs. After telling his younger brothers and sisters, he specially amplified 10 billion rings. These ordinary rings do not require spiritual power, and can be opened with just thoughts. The method is also very simple: one thought to open, one thought to close, one thought to collect, one thought to release, only need to roll a drop of blood to recognize the master to bind the mind, at most consume some mental power. Then, he took out another one, deposited a large number of copper coins in it, and gave it to his parents. Dad, Mom, just in case. When Li's father and mother saw the ring, they were very surprised. When they saw the number of copper coins in it, they were even more shocked. These are all for the children. If something happens in the future, you can take them out and use them. This. Li's mother wanted to refuse. Okay. However, Li's father interrupted her and accepted it, saying, "Good boy, after you go, don't let the Li family lose face. You must work hard and work hard. I know. Listen more to the immortal masters. Just do whatever they say, you know." Li's mother also pulled Li Taixing and warned her carefully. She was also worried that Li Taixing would suffer in the process of cultivating immortals, so she couldn't help but his eyes became moist. "Mom, don't worry." Li Taixing's mood was also a little heavy. Mother Li said, twice, but she couldn't help but leaned against Father Li's chest and cried, wiping her tears. Father Li's eyes were also full of reluctance and worry. Although thousands of people have gone on the road to cultivating immortality, how many have returned? Maybe this farewell is also an eternal farewell. Good boy. Even though Father Li was reluctant to give up, he could only put his hand on Li Taihang's shoulder, squeeze it hard, and said, "Mo Ninja, practice hard and strive to become an immortal as soon as possible." Soon after, Li Taixing left the Li family alone. The Li family's parents, younger siblings, also sent him all the way to the town. Watching him leave, except for Li's father, the other three shed tears of reluctance. Although Li Taixing forced a smile on his face, he was also a little reluctant in his heart, but looking up at the sky, he moved forward resolutely. Suddenly, he remembered Li Bai's poems. "Ignore you, the water of the yellow river comes up from the sky and flows to the sea never to return, don't you see? The bright mirror in the high hall has sad white hair, and it looks like blue silk in the morning and turns to snow in the evening." Li Taixing walked to a hillside, looked up at the mountains, paid homage to the sky, lit incense, and bowed. "Li Taixing, am here to pay my respects to all the gods." Then, pieces of paper money floated in the air. Li Taihang, have a one-dimensional space bag. Throwing an object can increase the value by tens of billions. Originally a first-level mortal, in order to seek immortality, he embarked on the path of cultivating immortality. Even though the road to immortality is long and long, even though there are all kinds of difficulties and dangers, my life will not stop and my cultivation will not stop. Chapter 3, Meeting Partners. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After more than 2 days of travel, Li Taihang finally arrived at the foot of Xuantian Sect. He did not travel with others, so he was faster. Fortunately, the journey was relatively safe, otherwise, it would be a bit troublesome. On the way here, he also heard that there were bandits robbing the road, but he did not encounter them. It is estimated that the individual target is small, and he also dressed himself in an old-fashioned way, so no one targeted him. However, Li Taihang did not know that he had escaped a disaster unexpectedly. At this time, on a certain mountain road leading to Xuantian Sect, a group of bandits stopped several teenagers who were going to Xuantian Sect and said, "Hand over your belongings and I will spare your life." We have no money." "Yes, brother, you see, we are all children from poor families, where can we have money?" "Bah, you go out without money. No one will believe it. I don't believe you are like that bastard before, without money, and you just scatter paper money all the way, making us brothers feel unlucky. Anyway, if you can't pay, I will kill you." That these unlucky guys had to hand over all their money and property before they were allowed to leave. Is this Xuantian Sect? That at this time, at the foot of Xuantian Sect, Li Taihang looked up and felt that the mountain was so high, towering into the clouds, and he couldn't see the top at all. If he wanted to climb, with his physique, he would have to sacrifice half his life. Fortunately, I have enough supplies, and I can take a rest if I get tired on the road. Li Taihang began to walk up the mountain. At this time, he noticed several figures at the foot of the mountain. They seemed to have come from other towns. Li Taihang suddenly thought that this time, Xiantian Sect's recruitment of new disciples seemed to be much simpler than usual, and the number was much larger. Even several nearby towns have recruited many boys and girls. Li Taihang glanced at them, and they also glanced at Li Taihang. They only felt that Li Taihang was tall and strong, handsome, and had a good temperament. These boys and girls did not dare to provoke Li Taihang. Li Taihang just smiled at them and then went up the mountain. "Big brother in front, please wait a moment." At this time, Li Taihang heard someone behind him calling him. He stopped and looked over. It was the two men and two women just now. Their faces were red and swollen, and there was sweat on their foreheads. Obviously, they were also very tired along the way. "What's the matter?" "Hello, my name is Lu Tong, from Qingshan town. I don't know what to call you, big brother." Lu Tong looked about 15 or 16 years old, and was the oldest among these people. "Li Taihang, Luoyue town." "Oh, Luoyue town, it's our neighboring town." Lu Tong showed his joy and said, "These people are like me, we are all from Qingshan town. Her name is Lu Qingyao, she is my sister, this is Sun Bohu, this is Li Yuanyang." Lu Tong introduced everyone, and they knew each other. Lu Qingyao looked at Li Taihang with some admiration, and felt that Li Taihang was so tall and mighty, and Sun Bohu was also a strong young man, but compared to Li Taihang, he was a little worse. In fact, Li Taihang's figure was just tall compared to them. However, compared to his peers, Li Taihang was actually quite thin, but he was tall among the short ones, which made them think he was tall. As for Li Yuanyang, when she saw Li Taihang, she looked a little shy, lowered her head, and did not dare to look at Li Taihang. "Brother Li, let's go together," Lu Tong suggested. Li Taihang glanced at Lu Tong. Lu Tong gave him the impression that he was a very smart guy, and he probably talked a lot. If Li Taihang guessed correctly, this guy probably saw that he was tall and strong. If Li Taihang was there, they would be relatively safer and would be taken care of on the road. Li Taihang thought about it and said, "Okay." Because he felt that although these guys had some ideas, their minds were not that complicated. It would not be so boring if there were more people following them along the way, so, the five of them continued to climb the mountain. Mountain climbing is the first test given to us by Xuantian Sect. If we cannot enter Xuantian Sect within the specified time, we will lose the qualification to enter Xuantian Sect. Now, we must rush to the mountain gate of Xuantian Sect before sunset. This place is more than 1,000 feet away from the mountain gate, and there are still 2 hours before sunset, which means that we have to walk at least more than 300 feet every half an hour. On the surface, the time is enough, but the higher the mountain, the harder it is to climb. Lu Tong sighed. More than 300 feet is more than 1,000 meters in height, and half an hour is 1 hour. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to walk more than 1,000 meters, which depends on each person's physical fitness. With Li Taihang's physical fitness, there is no problem, but the problem is that the higher you go up the mountain, the more oxygen you consume, and the easier it is to get tired. Now, we must speed up. However, there is a problem here, that is, people in this world can cultivate immortals, and the reason why they can cultivate immortals is because of the existence of spiritual energy. This also means that these people with spiritual roots do not actually consume so much time when they are on the road. Some people can even walk 1,000 meters in less than 10 minutes. Li Taihang's spiritual root is attributeless and first grade. He estimated that it would take at least 20 minutes, and the higher he went, the longer it would take. It seems that just by climbing the mountain, we can judge a person's aptitude to some extent. Li Taihang took a deep breath and began to climb the mountain. They didn't say anything else. Following Li Taihang, a group of people began to climb up. Along the way, they were not in a hurry. After all, there was enough time. And along the way, they also met people from other towns. Some of them were very fast and surpassed them, and some were also resting halfway and watching them pass them. There are 5 ways to climb the mountain, but all the roads eventually lead to the direction of the mountain gate. The one we took is the main road, and there are more people walking on it. Some roads are actually very dangerous. If you are not familiar with it, it is easy to get into trouble. Lu Tong told everyone some things about climbing the mountain while they were resting. Li Taihang was a little surprised. He didn't know how this kid knew so many things, however, he did not ask more questions. After all, some things should not be said, and some should not be asked. Chapter 4 Entering Xiantian Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, Li Taihang and his party finally arrived at the gate of Xiantian Sect before sunset, but saw 2 Xiantian Sect disciples flying on swords at the gate, looking forward, so majestic and enviable. Identity verification here, you can enter if you pass the identity, please return if you fail. At the gate, there were more than a dozen Xuantian Sect disciples verifying identities or maintaining order at the scene. Brotherly, let's go over. Yes. Seeing Lu Tong's impatient look, Li Taihang followed him, and Lu Qingyao, Sun Bohu, and Li Yuanyang behind him also hurried to catch up. They came to a disciple guarding the gate and stopped. Lu Tong was even more flattering and said, "Hello, senior brother, we are here to verify our identities." "Yes, take out your ID card." "Okay, this senior brother." Lu Tong quickly took out his ID card and handed it over. After the gatekeeper passed the spiritual power verification, he confirmed that it was correct, nodded, and said, "Go in." "Yes, thank you, senior brother." Next. Li Taihang also walked up and handed over his ID card for verification. Soon, they all passed the authentication of the wooden card and the ID card and successfully entered the mountain gate. "Ah, why don't you let me in? This is my ID card." "Humph, you dare to forge an ID card, you are looking for death, beat me." "Ah, I don't dare, please let me go." Li Taihang and his friends just came in and heard a noisy sound coming from the mountain gate. Looking back, they saw several disciples of Xiantian Sect beating a teenager who pretended to be here. At this time, Lu Tong whispered to Li Taihang, "Brotherly, this guy must have bought a fake ID card from somewhere, or robbed someone else's ID card, and wanted to enter Xiantian Sect in this way. Little do they know, these people are really stupid. Xiantian Sect is the gate of the immortal sect. How can they be deceived so easily?" Li Taihang nodded. "The first few, hurry up and gather at the square. The assessment will begin soon." At this time, a disciple flying on a sword flew in the air. He looked at Li Taihang and the others and said coldly, "Yes, okay, senior brother, don't worry, we will be there soon." Lu Tong hurriedly greeted him with a smile on his face. "Yeah." After hearing this, the Xiantian Sect disciple was very satisfied and flew away on the sword. "Wow, I'm so envious. I wonder when we can also fly on the sword." Lu Qingyao's face was full of longing, although the others did not speak, they could see it from their envious eyes. At this time, Lu Tong led them to the square in front with the crowd, and then they could finally find a place to rest. Sun Bohu simply sat on the ground directly. After seeing this, Lu Tong smiled and pointed at Sun Bohu and said, "I say, Bohu, you are a tiger. Isn't it dirty to sit on the ground directly?" "I don't care." Sun Bohu curled his lips. "Huh, brotherly, look at this Sun Bohu, he is so honest." Then, Lu Tong also sat down with him and said, "Hey, I have to learn from Bohu." Haha. Li Taihang also sat down. The 2 girls looked at it and sat down too. In fact, there are many people like them in the square. After Lu Tong sat down, he started chatting again. He looked at Li Taihang and asked, "Brotherly, what kind of spiritual root are you? What grade?" "No attribute, 1st grade." Suddenly, the 4 of them widened their eyes and looked at Li Taihang. Wow! Sun Bohu was impressed and bowed his hands, saying, "If I had this talent, I wouldn't dare to come up." "Brotherly, you are really amazing." "Ahem." Lu Tong hurriedly said, "Brotherly, Bohu has no other meaning, but I think your perseverance is very strong." "Yes." Hee hee. Li Taihang smiled slightly, disapproving, and said, "What about you?" "I have a 4th grade wind spiritual root, my sister has a 3rd grade fire spiritual root, Bohu has a 3rd grade earth spiritual root, and Yunyang has a 2nd grade water spiritual root." Lu Tong knew the information of several of them very clearly, so he told Li Taihang about this situation. In this way, Li Taihang found that he was the worst. However, after Lu Tong finished speaking, he looked at Li Taihang to see how he would react, but found that Li Taihang was very calm and not embarrassed at all. Lu Tong was very curious, but he felt that it would be impolite to say it to Li Taihang, so he held back. But Li Taihang is not one of these little guys. In his previous life, he was a man in his 30s. He had a lot of experience. Looking at their expressions, he knew what they were thinking. Do you think my road to immortality is difficult? Ah, that's not true. Lu Tong laughed dryly. The road to immortality requires diligence. No one can succeed easily. Qualification is one thing, but hard work is the most important. Lu Tong was obviously comforting Li Taihang. Li Taihang smiled and said, "Okay, Lu Tong, I know, but you just wait and see." Li Taihang didn't think so, but he didn't say much, because the facts would prove everything. At this time, there was a boiling sound coming from the front. After hearing the sound, they looked over and saw a high platform in front of the square. Some people from Xuantian Sect appeared on it. Wow, look, it's the elders of the outer sect of Xuantian Sect. Are they here to watch our performance? I have to perform well and strive to become their disciple. Humph, I have a 5th grade fire spirit root. You are all scum. I will definitely be favored. Wow, brother, these elders look so powerful. Lu Qinyao looked at the elders sitting on the high platform with admiration and envy, and was very excited. Lu Tong was also excited and clenched his hands. So did Sun Bohu and Li Yuanyang. Li Taixing was no exception, but he recovered quickly because he was more curious. Are these high-ranking immortals? No, they are just immortal cultivators. Li Taihang thought to himself, and suddenly he was looking forward to the next arrangements and trials. At this time, the outer elder stood up after making eye contact with other elders. Everyone in the square fell silent after seeing him standing up. I saw Guqing, the elder of the outer sect, saying to the people below, "Everyone, welcome to Xuantian Sect. I am Guqing, the great elder in charge of the outer sect, and I am also the main person in charge of recruiting new disciples this time. First of all, congratulations on passing the first test and reaching the top of Xuantian Sect in time. Next, there will be 3 months of training. After 3 months, there will be your big exam. If you fail the big exam, then I'm sorry, you will go back to where you came from. If you pass the big exam, congratulations. You will be fortunate enough to be selected by the elders and enter the inner sect and become the disciples of the elders, or, at the worst, you can become the handyman disciples or the outer sect disciples." Chapter 5, My Roommate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Xiantian Sect's disciples are divided into the following levels: menial disciples, outer disciples, inner disciples, elite disciples, and personal disciples. The higher the status, the better the treatment. On the contrary, the lower the status, not only the poorer the treatment, but also the dirty and tiring work. At this time, everyone held their breath and listened carefully to Guqing's speech. No one dared to speak, because everyone was afraid of missing a word, as if this missed word would cause their immortal cultivation to be interrupted. Li Taihang was the same, listening carefully to every word Guqing said, and what he said was also the rule for the next 3 months. In order to ensure fairness, all participants will receive unified training in these 3 months. As for how much you can learn, it depends on your efforts and luck. At the same time, I also hope that in the next 3 months, I can see everyone's excellent performance. I hope everyone will work hard and forge ahead. The immortal cultivation path will start for you from now on. Guqing stretched out his hands and said loudly. Wow! Everyone in the square cheered happily. Li Taihang looked at Lu Tong and the other two and found that they were also in high spirits. He couldn't help but be infected and smiled expectantly. After Guqing finished speaking, the next step was to settle them. Since they didn't have too many rooms here, many people were assigned together. Of course, they could also form teams on their own. Xiantian Sect did not prohibit them from doing this. Soon, Li Taihang and his friends were also assigned to the same room. Of course, men and women lived separately, so it was impossible for them to live together. In the room, Lu Tong was still chatting with Sun Bohu, while Li Taihang was looking at the environment of the whole room. The dormitory was not big. There were 3 bunk beds in total, which could accommodate 6 people. At present, there were only 3 of them, which meant that 3 more people would be assigned to come in. Lu Tong looked at the beds and said, "Brotherly, let's take a seat before they come. I like to sleep on the upper bunk. Bohu, let's sleep on the same bunk. Okay, I'll sleep on top of you. Well, you have to be careful not to collapse the bed." "What did you say? Am I that heavy?" Ha ha ha. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were joking, and Li Taihang also chose a position. He also chose the upper bunk. Although the lower bunk is quite convenient, the upper bunk will have more privacy. Brotherly. At this time, Lu Tong, who had made the bed, sat on the edge of the bed and looked at Li Taihang on the upper bunk opposite. "What's the matter?" "It's like this, I have to make it clear first, I treat you as our eldest brother, so I say these words, which may not sound good, but I still have to tell you." Lu Tong looked at Li Taihang sincerely. Li Taihang was a little surprised. He looked at Sun Bohu again and found that Sun Bohu's face was also full of seriousness. "Go ahead." Li Taihang was a little curious. Was Lu Tong going to talk about his cultivation again? "Brotherly, maybe this Xuantian sect is not suitable for you." Lu Tong spoke cautiously, and was very concerned about the changes in Li Taihang's expression. Li Taihang sneered and said, "Then do you think there are other sects?" "Well, it seems not. In this area, the most famous is the Xuantian sect. If the Xuantian sect does not have a method suitable for non-attribute cultivation, then, will other sects have it?" Lu Tong thought about it, and said worriedly, "Brotherly, I don't want to dissuade you, but just let you be mentally prepared." "Well, thank you for your concern." Li Taihang also knew that Lu Tong was concerned, and immediately, his impression of Lu Tong and others improved a lot. However, Li Taihang did not take it seriously. He touched his dimensional space bag. This is where his confidence lies. If it did not exist, I am afraid that Li Taihang would not dare to have such an idea. At most, he would not admit defeat, and practice seriously to the end, but now, he has a lot more variables to control. Okay. Lu Tong felt that Li Taihang seemed very confident, but he couldn't figure it out. After all, it was too difficult to practice without attributes. The skills in this world were all created according to different spiritual roots, and the skills without attributes were almost extinct. What's more, Li Taihang was a first grade. According to the level of practice in this world, Li Taihang could only practice to the body refining realm at most. It was almost impossible to enter the Qi gathering realm, because the Qi gathering realm required the skills without attributes. Even if he had it, I don't know if Li Taihang could live to the day when he practiced to the Qi gathering realm. This is the room. That's right. Well, let's go in. This is a 6-person room. There should be someone inside. Okay. The door of the dormitory was opened, and 3 people walked in. The 3 people were of similar size. Although they were all about 17 or 18 years old, they looked very strong. After they came in, they looked at the 3 people on the bed. Among them, the sturdy young man in the lead cupped his hands and said, "Hello, brothers. My name is Xionghu, and I have the 3rd grade Earth Spirit root. These 2 are my brothers, and they also have the 3rd grade Spirit roots. Why don't you get to know each other so that you can take care of each other?" After Xionghu introduced himself, he walked to the bed and looked at Lu Tong, who was on the lower bunk. "Little brother, what's your name? What's your qualification?" "Lu Tong, 4th grade, Wind Spirit root." Lu Tong said lightly. "Oh, amazing." Xionghu said admiringly, and looked at Sun Bohu who was lying on the upper bunk. 3rd grade Earth Spirit root, Sun Bohu. "Haha, this little brother, you are also amazing, not bad." Then, he looked at Li Taihang, who was looking at the dimensional space bag. At this time, the things in the dimensional space bag were presented around him. He was thinking about what to eat later. Suddenly, Xionghu looked at him and said, "Brother, I don't know what your name is." What qualifications do you have? Li Taihang, first grade, no attributes. When Xionghu heard this, the three of them were stunned. After a long while, they all laughed. Ha ha ha, first grade no attribute spirit root, isn't this a waste? Such a waste has the nerve to come to Xuantian sect, isn't this asking for insult? That the young man next to Xionghu also laughed. You guys. Lu Tong was a little unhappy when he heard someone insult Li Taihang. Originally, when he saw these three new roommates, he wanted to make friends with them, but now it seems unnecessary. It was hard for him to accept making friends with such arrogant and conceited people. When Li Taihang heard them mocking him, he said disapprovingly, "Let them laugh if they want to. We don't need to care about these. We cultivators are about pursuing the heart of Tao, not the benefits of words." Li Taihang knew that with his current strength, he was no match for these guys. Anyway, there is a saying that accounts will be settled later, and he remembered these guys. Chapter 6 Bone Strengthening Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Taihang ignored Xionghu and the other two, but after preparing his own bed, he decided to go out for a walk to see if he could get some good things and solve his dinner problem, so he got off the upper bunk, said hello to Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, and left the dormitory. Xionghu and the other two looked down on Li Taihang and ignored him at all. However, one of the teenagers, knowing Li Taihang's qualifications, saw that Li Taihang was going out and said, "Boy, remember to come back early and help us wash clothes." Then, Li Taihang snorted in his heart and ignored them at all, but this also made him more eager to become stronger. In front of him, there were only 3 minions who provoked him, and he was so passive. What about the future? I have to learn some self-defense skills as soon as possible. Li Taihang said secretly, and left the dormitory quickly. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu looked at Li Taihang, but their faces showed worry. When there is a chance, I must talk to Brother Li and ask him not to easily reveal his qualifications in front of outsiders, otherwise, I am afraid that more people will want to bully Brother Li in the future. Lu Tong thought to himself. Outside the dormitory, Li Taihang looked at the people coming and going, all of whom were boys and girls between the ages of 13 and 18. Some of them were communicating, and some were busy. Li Taihang's eyes shifted from them, but he unexpectedly heard someone communicating in front of him. I saw a group of people surrounding a fat man. The fat man was holding a pill box in his hand and was explaining to everyone, "This is a bone-forging pill. After swallowing it, it can improve your own physique. At that time, it will be easier to enter the body-refining realm." Wow, such a good thing. How did you get it? Yes. In fact, the bone-forging pill is not a precious thing for cultivators, but for these ordinary people who came out of the town, it is already a very good treasure of the immortal family, especially suitable for them now. Hey, of course I bought it. The fat man introduced himself with some pride, saying, "Let me tell you, my family is super rich. I have an extra bone-forging pill on me. As long as you are willing to bid, I am willing to sell this one to you." How much? Suddenly, some people were tempted. 10,000 silver taels. The fat man showed a beautiful smile. Puff. A teenager who was drinking water immediately sprayed out the water in his mouth. Oh my God, so expensive. Yes, even if we go to buy it, it's only about 1,000 silver taels, but you actually doubled it, and it's 10 times. That's right, fatty, you are too black, aren't you? Humph, do you know what rare goods are worth hoarding? I tell you, if I wasn't short of money, I wouldn't sell it to you. You can take it or not. If you don't want it, forget it. After saying that, the fat man left with some disdain. He still had to go to other places to sell, so he wouldn't waste too much time here. After hearing this, Li Taihang was somewhat moved, thinking, 1 tael of silver is equal to 1,000 copper coins, and this 10,000 taels is equivalent to 10 million copper coins. Although the bone-forging pill is the most common pill, it is what I need most at this stage. I will try to communicate with him. Li Taihang thought to himself. Then, he quietly followed the fat man, and when he saw that there were not many people around, he came to the fat man who was selling the bone-forging pill and blocked his way. What do you want to do? The fat man stared at Li Taihang with some depression. He was not afraid of Li Taihang robbing him, and said, "Can I talk to you? Can I trade with copper coins?" "Yes, but this is 10 million copper coins." "Are you sure you can afford it?" The fat man looked at Li Taihang with some doubtful eyes, but Li Taihang's clothes did not look like a child from a poor family, so he said, "As long as you can afford it, I can sell it to you." "Okay, one hand for money, the other for goods." Then, Li Taihang took out a ring containing 10 million copper coins without hesitation and handed it to the fat man. You really have it." The fat man was stunned. "Well, how about it?" "Okay." The fat man took a breath, but immediately agreed. "Thank you." Then, the two sides completed the transaction, and after transferring the copper coins, the ring was returned to Li Taihang, and Li Taihang also received a bone-forging pill. He put it out of the dimensional space bag, and suddenly heard the system prompt, "Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the bone-forging pill * 10 billion. If you have more pills in the future, don't mind coming to me." Oh. The fat man was very surprised after hearing it, however, thinking that Li Taihang could easily take out 10 million copper coins. I'm afraid he is not an ordinary person, so, he remembered Li Taihang's words. "Okay. Well, by the way, if possible, please keep it a secret for me, thank you." Li Taihang originally wanted to ask the fat man where he bought the things so that he could buy them himself, but seeing the fat man's vigilant look, he estimated that the fat man would not tell him. Okay. Afterwards, Li Taihang left the fat man, who stared at Li Taihang's leaving figure and scratched his head, wondering what he was thinking about. After Li Taihang got these bone-forging pills, he wanted to find a remote place and start swallowing these pills. In addition to relying on the technique, resources are also very important for cultivation. After Li Taihang found a secluded place and confirmed that there were no people around, he sat down and swallowed the bone-forging pill. After swallowing the bone-forging pill, Li Taihang found that his strength and physical fitness had increased, but the effect was not as good as he imagined. Strange, I thought I would be reborn, it seems that I thought too much. So, Li Taihang continued to swallow the bone-forging pill. He didn't know that each person could only swallow 5 bone-forging pills. Li Taihang just felt that there was no effect, so he kept swallowing it. With each pill, his physical fitness began to change, but the effect was not great. It's okay, as long as I can become stronger. Li Taihang had a lot of bone-forging pills and continued to swallow them, 10, 20, 50, 100. Fortunately, the characteristics of these pills are the efficacy. Once they enter the body, they will be absorbed by the body, so Li Taihang is not afraid of eating too much. Li Taihang didn't know that his attributeless spiritual root was like a bottomless pit, greedily devouring these bone-forging pills, and was quietly changing. When Li Taihang was depressed and ate these bone-forging pills like eating candy, after eating thousands of them, Li Taihang suddenly had a strange feeling. Hey, what's going on? That he suddenly found that his body had finally undergone an overall change, and this change was a qualitative change. He couldn't describe the feeling, but he felt it was very wonderful. The only thing that was certain was that his body skin became stronger and his strength was greatly improved. As for how strong it was, he didn't know. At this time, when Li Taihang swallowed the bone-forging pill again, he found that it had no effect, so Li Taihang stopped swallowing it, but he didn't know that his spiritual root had begun to change at this time. Chapter 7, Responding to Provocation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Taihang decided to test his strength. He looked at the tree behind him and punched it directly. Bang! Suddenly, the tree, which was about as thick as a waist, fell down with a crack. Wow, my strength is so strong. Li Taihang waved his hand and fanned away the rolled grass. Moreover, he didn't use his full strength just now, but just a tentative attack, but he didn't expect it to have such an effect. If I use my full strength, I'm afraid I will blow up a huge rock. Hee, now I finally have some self-protection strength. Li Taihang was very happy and planned to put the tree into the dimensional space bag. Cannot store living things. Why? This tree is not a human, the existence of a living being is detected in the tree. Then, green dots appeared on the tree. Seeing the positions marked by those green dots, Li Taihang was also drunk. Damn, they are just some small bugs. The host can force the materials to be stored, but the materials will be transformed into materials. Are you sure? Okay. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining sandalwood *10 billion. It's still sandalwood. Li Taihang was a little surprised. After handling the scene, he hurried away. He was afraid that his actions just now would attract other people's attention. Not long after he left, a mountain patrol disciple appeared in the air with a sword. In mid-air, he saw a big tree with only a stump left, so he landed, looked around, and then cursed, "Damn, which bastard came to steal wood again? Didn't you say that you are not allowed to cut trees here? This is good. If you are not allowed to cut trees, you can just hit them with your fists, right?" The mountain patrol disciple thought about how to explain when he went back, but when he thought that the other party could blow up a tree with his fists, he might be a big boss, so he didn't dare to investigate further. Well, forget it, just pretend you didn't see it. Anyway, one more or one less won't have much impact. The patrolling disciple flew away on his sword. At this time, Li Taihang was about to go back when he smelled a foul smell and realized that he was quite dirty. However, he was lucky. There was a river in front of him. He simply ran over and looked around. He didn't see any people, so he went down to the river to take a bath. Wow, so dirty, Li Taihang didn't know until he saw it. He was shocked. This set of clothes on his body was obviously not worth it. It was too smelly. He felt very uncomfortable when he smelled the smell, so he threw it away. However, he didn't know that when he was taking a bath, there was also someone taking a bath not far away, but the other person was a woman, and she also discovered Li Taihang's existence. However, her position was upstream of Li Taihang, and she was nearly 100 meters away, but Li Taihang obviously didn't notice the other person, and the other person didn't make a fuss after discovering Li Taihang. She quickly jumped onto the shore, and while on the shore, her white clothes automatically wrapped around her graceful figure. Unfortunately, Li Taihang did not notice the fairy-like beauty. While scrubbing his body, he took out some bathing items from the dimensional space bag. Well, I'm finally done. At this time, the beautiful woman who was observing in the dark had a blush on her pretty face. This guy should not be a disciple of the sect, maybe a newly recruited disciple. But, his figure is too good, isn't it? The beautiful woman was almost drooling from peeking, and she swallowed her saliva secretly, but accidentally stepped on a dead branch. Crack. Li Taihang immediately looked in the direction of the beautiful woman, but the other party was very alert and had already hidden when Li Taihang found her. Li Taihang felt a little strange. Why do I feel like someone is peeping at me while I'm taking a shower? Hey, I'm a man, what's so good about that? After taking a shower, Li Taihang changed into new clothes and took out a roast duck from his dimensional space bag. This is the most famous roast duck in their Luoyue town, so he likes it very much. Li Taihang sat under the tree, eating while taking out a bottle of wine and drinking it. The woman hiding in the dark smelled the fragrance of the roast duck and saw the wine, and immediately swallowed her saliva in the dark. This little guy actually has a storage ring on him, and there are so many delicious and drinkable things. The beautiful woman's eyes lit up, but in order to avoid exposing herself, she quickly disappeared into the forest and disappeared. Li Taihang didn't know all this. After he had enough food and drink, he went back to the dormitory. It was already close to evening. When he came back, he heard the noise coming from inside. What did you say, bastard? Lu Tong, Sun Bohu, cooperate with us, otherwise, we will never let you go. Humph, forget it. He's just a piece of trash, why are you two so stubborn? He's our brother, if you dare to bully him, we will definitely not let you go. Li Taihang, who was outside the dormitory, quickly heard the reason for their quarrel. It turned out that the reason was still with him, the three brothers Xiong and who wanted to bully Li Taihang, so they planned to collude with Lu Tong and Sun Bohu. However, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu quarreled with each other in order to protect Li Taihang. The two sides quarreled fiercely, and it was obvious that no one wanted to let the other go. At this time, the door was pushed open by Li Taihang, and Li Taihang walked in with two roast ducks taken out of the dimensional space bag. What? Three bears, do you like to bully the weak so much? After Li Taihang came in, he started to spray directly, and did not show any mercy to Xianxia whose faces were as black as ink. Boy, what do you mean? Xianxia glared at Li Taihang. Unexpectedly, Li Taihang, whom he despised the most, dared to call the three brothers three bears. And Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were also shocked. They hurried to Li Taihang's side. Lu Tong said, "Brotherly, you are back, hide aside quickly." "Why?" "They want to deal with you." "Ha." Li Taihang laughed, stuffed 2 roast ducks to Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, and said, "Try it, it's delicious." As for the 3 of them, Li Taihang stared at Xianxia and the other 2, grinning. "We have to set rules for them." "Boy, you are quite arrogant." Xianxia stood up and strode towards Li Taihang. Sun Bohu hurriedly tried to stop him, but was stopped by Li Taihang, saying, "You two must be hungry too, eat something, it's just right, you were worried about my practice before, now I will show you my skills." After listening to this, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu looked at Li Taihang in surprise, thinking they had heard it wrong. Chapter 8 Three Bears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that Li Taihang dared to speak arrogantly in front of them, Xianxia snorted coldly, rolled up his sleeves with a ferocious look on his face, and approached Li Taihang step by step. "Boy, see what you can do." However, before Xianxia got close, Li Taihang suddenly stopped him and said, "Stop." "What for?" Xianxia really stopped, but his eyes were still staring at Li Taihang fiercely. "Are you scared?" "That's not the case, don't waste time, the 3 of you go together." "Ha ha ha. You asked for it." Xianxia laughed and said, "If you lose, don't cry." "Don't worry, I'm afraid you will cry." "Humph, you deserve to die." They originally looked for Lu Tong and Sun Bohu just to let Li Taihang help them work. After all, in the process of cultivation, concentration is very important. If their time is wasted on this, what will happen if their cultivation results can't keep up in the future? So, they look down on Li Taihang at all. Now, Li Taihang actually wants to fight 3 people alone. Isn't this angering them? "Well, I want to see what you, a waste, have to challenge us." Xianxia also got angry and snorted. "Stop talking nonsense and come on." Then, Li Taihang hooked his finger at them. "Damn it, you are looking for death." Xianxia roared and was about to rush forward. Li Taihang's operation also shocked Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, who both swallowed their saliva secretly. "Brotherly, do you think it's too slow to die?" Sun Bohu murmured. Lu Tong was also a little anxious. Although the roast duck in his hand smelled delicious, he was not in the mood to eat it now. "Wait, if we beat you, you will not only be our little brother, but also the 2 roast ducks will be ours." At this time, Xianxia suddenly grabbed Xianxia, who also smelled the fragrance of the roast duck and immediately shouted, "After all, it is a fool not to take advantage." Sun Bohu was angry. It was okay to beat Brotherly, but why did he target our roast duck? "No problem." Li Taihang agreed readily. "Okay, since this kid is so arrogant, brothers, we have to give him face, and the 3 of us will go together." Xianxia said with a smirk on his face. "Can you have some shame?" Lu Tong pointed at them and cursed. However, Li Taihang smiled and stretched out his hand to stop Lu Tong. He was laughing at the simple-mindedness of the 3 bears. Since Li Taihang dared to challenge them, he was sure of it. Since he swallowed thousands of bone-forging pills, his body has become very light, or it should be said that his movements have become more agile, his strength has become more terrifying, and his physique has become more tenacious. Otherwise, he would not have taken the initiative to provoke the 3 bears. "Go to hell." Xianxia was the closest, and he punched Li Taihang in the direction of his nose. "No, Brotherly is going to be in trouble." Lu Tong exclaimed. "Brotherly, be careful." Sun Bohu also shouted, not caring about the roast duck. However, the scene that frightened him did not happen. Just when the fist was about to hit Li Taihang's face, Li Taihang suddenly stretched out a hand and took the blow. Bang! The fist fell dully into Li Taihang's palm, then, Xianxia's fist was caught, and it was held tightly. No matter how much Xianxia struggled, he could not get his hand back. Let go, let go, let go. This also aroused the anger of Xionghu and Xiongsan. Go. I'll hit you. The three of them attacked Li Taihang together, and this operation also shocked Lu Tong and Sun Bohu, but Li Taihang still looked calm and looked at their fists, and he felt as if they were in slow motion. When the fist approached, Li Taihang dodged gently, however, because he was not sure about his strength, Li Taihang pushed gently again. Bang! Suddenly, Xiong'er flew backwards and hit the wall, and tears came out of his eyes in pain. Xionghu and Xiongsan rushed over, helped Xiong'er up, and asked, "Second brother, are you okay?" "Ah, big brother, my waist hurts so much." "Humph, second brother, don't be afraid, big brother will avenge you." Xionghu asked Xiongsan to keep an eye on Xiong'er, and he rushed over and punched Li Taihang directly. Bang! Li Taihang only blocked it with his arm. Ouch! As a result, Xionghu's fist hit the iron plate, and he covered his hand in pain. "Is this all you can do?" "No, it's impossible." Xionghu was very surprised, because Li Taihang's arm was too hard, right? Li Taihang shook his head and walked over. Xionghu punched again, but this time it was towards Li Taihang's face. He didn't believe that Li Taihang's face was still so hard. As a result, Li Taihang threw him over his shoulder. Bang! Ah! Xionghu howled miserably. After knocking down Xionghu and Xiong'er, only Xiongsan was left. He looked at Xionghu who was lying on the ground, and Xiong'er who was crying in pain, and swallowed his saliva secretly. He was at a loss for what to do. If he rushed forward, he would lose face after seeing the miserable state of his elder and second brothers. When he hesitated, Li Taihang had already arrived in front of him, raised his leg and kicked him. Bang! Suddenly, Xiongsan also fell to the ground, howling miserably. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were stunned. Am I seeing right? Did Brother Li knock down Xionghu and the other two? Lu Tong couldn't believe his eyes. I shouldn't. Sun Bohu also swallowed his saliva and said. No wonder Brother Li is so confident. It turns out that Brother Li is very strong. It seems that even if Brother Li doesn't work hard, he can easily pass the 3-month trial with his strength. Yeah, that's right. We were worried about Brother Li before, but now it seems that we were totally worried. Yes. It seems that we have to work hard to practice, otherwise, we will embarrass Brother Li. Lu Tong said. Yeah. Sun Bohu also nodded in agreement. Come on, you can't do it now. Li Taihang looked at the 3 bears on the ground and continued to provoke, and Xionghu cursed, Li Taihang, you have guts, you are still so powerful, why do you pretend to be weak? At this time, Xionghu was also very regretful. If he had known that Li Taihang was so powerful, he would not have provoked him. I originally thought that Li Taihang was a waste, but now I realize that I am indeed worse than a waste. Thinking of this, he felt like vomiting blood. Humph, you want us to surrender, that's impossible. We were careless just now, and you will be in trouble next. Xionghu began to cheer up Xiong'er and Xiongsan, and said, Second brother, third brother, let's stand separately and deal with this Li Taihang. Okay. Chapter 9, Accept the Loss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Taihang took a quick look and saw that they were scattered, so he took the initiative to attack. The first person he wanted to kill was Xionghu who was in front of him. Xionghu had just arranged his position and had not had time to make a move when he saw Li Taihang's fist coming towards his face. Bang! Suddenly, Xionghu's face was hit hard, and the whole person flew backwards and hit the ground. If Li Taihang had not suppressed his strength to a very low level, this guy would not have fallen to the ground after being hit by this punch. Xiong'er and Xiongsan rushed over, swung their fists, and hit Li Taihang's body. As a result, Li Taihang dodged easily, went around behind the two, and hit them on the neck with a knife. Bang! Bang! With 2 muffled bangs, both of them fell to the ground. unconscious, Li Taihang walked towards Xionghu, half squatting, looking at Xionghu with hatred on his face, stretched out his hand and patted Xionghu's face, saying, "You are not my opponent at all. Now you know how powerful I am, right? I don't accept it." Still not convinced. Li Taihang suddenly showed a weird smile, and a piece of wood suddenly appeared in his hand, saying, "How do you think your body compares to this wood?" Xionghu didn't understand, but Li Taihang suddenly exerted force. Bang! Suddenly, the whole piece of wood was crushed by Li Taihang's hand, and Xionghu's eyes almost popped out. "I showed mercy, otherwise, you wouldn't faint or fall down." After saying that, Li Taihang patted Xionghu's face, and he trembled with pain. I know. At this time, Xionghu also knew that he had kicked the iron plate, and he was not Li Taihang's opponent at all. "Okay, that's good to know." Li Taihang stood up, clapped his hands, and said, "In the future, do you three brothers know what to do?" Although Xionghu was a little unwilling, he knew that he couldn't beat Li Taihang, so he could only grit his teeth and admit it, "I know." "Okay. By the way, Lu Tong and Sun Bohu are my brothers, and you should treat them well in the future. In short, here, you are the youngest. From today on, you have to listen to us, understand?" "I know." "Very good, you should know how to call." "Yes, brotherly." "Well, you know what's good for you." Li Taihang was very satisfied with Xionghu's performance, and he stopped bullying him, but asked him to wake up his two brothers. At this time, after Xiong Er and Xiong San woke up, they also realized that the three of them were no match for Li Taihang, but they were also very puzzled, because Li Taihang was originally a first-grade attributeless, he should be the worst, but his strength was so strong that they all found it hard to believe. Li Taihang ignored the three of them and returned to his bed, lying down and preparing to rest. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were stunned and looked at each other. "Is Brother Li so powerful? I thought he was weak." Sun Bohu found it hard to believe. Even if Sun Bohu and Lu Tong joined forces, they were no match for the three brothers Xionghu. The simplest reason for this is that everyone has not practiced yet, so no matter how good their qualifications are, they cannot compare to people with stronger physical fitness than themselves. "Well, let's eat." Sun Bohu sniffed the fragrant roast duck and finally couldn't help it. "Yeah." Lu Tong also nodded. Then, the two sat on the edge of Lu Tong's bed and started eating, which made the three brothers Xionghu salivate. Xiong San even drooled, and the other two also drooled. Seeing this, Lu Tong finally couldn't help it. He only ate half, and gave the remaining half to the three brothers Xionghu. The three brothers Xionghu were immediately very grateful to him. "Thank you, Brother Lu. If you have any problems in the future, just tell us. As long as we can do it, we will definitely help you." Xionghu ate happily and said cheerfully, "Yeah." After seeing that their attitudes had improved a lot, Lu Tong felt that he should have a good relationship with them, so he said, "You're welcome. Let's help each other in the future." "Okay, thank you." The three brothers Xionghu finally had a good meal, and they were still wolfing down the roast duck. Although there was only half a roast duck, it was delicious. This made Lu Tong and Sun Bohu a little stunned, so that Sun Bohu forgot to eat anymore. At this time, after eating the roast duck, their eyes fell on Sun Bohu's hands again. Sun Bohu looked at them swallowing their saliva and their eager eyes, and he couldn't stand it. "How about I give it to you?" Swish. After hearing this, Xiong San didn't hesitate to take the remaining roast duck from Sun Bohu's hand. This shocked Sun Bohu again. Sun Bohu looked at the roast duck that disappeared in his hand, then looked at the roast duck that the three brothers were tearing apart, and looked at Lu Tong. "Well, mine is gone too." "It's gone, they are so cruel, it's like they haven't eaten." "Ah." Sun Bohu had no choice but to give up. Although he was a little reluctant, he felt quite pitiful looking at these three brothers. The next morning, everyone had to gather at the square. From today on, they would not only receive training, but also have corresponding work arrangements. The three brothers Xiong and who got up early, prepared toiletries for Li Taihang and the other two, and took care of the sanitation of the dormitory. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were very surprised when they saw it. "Hey, Brother Lu, brother Sun, you are all up, we have prepared your toiletries, please use them. Boss Li hasn't gotten up yet, it's almost time to gather, should we call Boss Li? Xiong, who at this time was no longer as arrogant as yesterday, and became very respectful, this made Lu Tong and Sun Bohu a little uncomfortable. Actually, you don't have to be polite, we can just deal with our own things. That won't work, Boss Li said that we will be your younger brothers in the future, you can just tell us if you have anything. This, really not necessary. Lu Tong was a little amused, in his opinion, it was enough to teach these guys a lesson and let them remember, there was no need to enslave them, moreover, he was not used to being served by others, and he was even more uncomfortable with three grown men. Sun Bohu was also frightened by them early in the morning. He felt like he had seen a ghost, so he didn't dare to get out of bed. He covered his body with a quilt and looked at the three guys vigilantly. I'm telling you, just be yourself, don't be too arrogant in the future, don't bully the weak, and the rest, get out of the way, I need to go to the toilet. Okay. Then, Xiong came over and said, Brother Sun, step on my body to get down, I promise it's steady. Chapter 10 Being Respected as the Boss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Li Taihang got up in the morning, he saw this strange scene and coughed lightly. When the three brothers Xiong and who heard Li Taihang's voice, they turned around quickly, lined up, bowed neatly, and said, Good morning, boss. Li Taihang was also shocked by their actions. Good morning, you guys hurry up and get ready, time is running out, we have to go to the square too. Yes, boss. The three brothers Xiong and who rushed to wash up quickly. Li Taihang got out of bed, but saw that Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were a little weird. What's wrong with you two? Brotherly, there's something wrong with the three brothers Xiong and Hu. What's wrong? Yes, you see, even if you treat them as your younger brothers, they don't have to be so serious, right? But looking at their appearance, they are too active and too obedient, right? I feel that if you tell them to die, they might die here right away. Damn, is it so exaggerated? Li Taihang didn't believe it, however, the three of them were indeed too serious. Li Taihang was about to wash up, when the three brothers Xiong who appeared in front of him again, standing very straight, and reported, Boss, we have finished washing up, what do you want? Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were frightened and hid behind Li Taihang. Li Taihang's mouth twitched, and he said, What's wrong with you? Even if I let you be my younger brothers, you wouldn't be like this. If you continue to be like this, I won't need you. Xiong who heard it and said anxiously, Boss, but are we doing something wrong? That's not the case, it's just that you are a little too exaggerated. Will it? We think it's normal to do this. Yes, boss, we have always done this. This made Li Taihang hear some hidden meanings. You have been doing this? What does it mean? Xiong who suddenly felt embarrassed, and the three brothers looked at each other. Finally, Xiong who sighed and told them about the matter. It turned out that the three brothers Xiong and who were not from any town, but had been wandering outside. Later, they became beggars and were taken in by the local beggars gang. However, this beggars gang has a rule that the people below must serve the people above with all their strength and ensure that the people above are satisfied, otherwise, they are incompetent. Once they are incompetent, they will be punished at the least, driven out at the worst, and may even be beaten to death. The three brothers Xiong and who finally stayed because they were willing to endure hardships and work hard, but the leader of their beggars gang offended a big boss and was eventually destroyed. The three brothers survived by chance and drifted to a town. They happened to meet Xuantian Sect recruiting disciples, so they signed up and did not expect it to be successful. Then, they came to Xuantian Sect. In order to avoid being bullied by others, the three brothers had already discussed that they must work together, must be the boss, and must not let others bully themselves. Then everything happened in a dormitory later, and the provocation of Li Taihang happened. After understanding all this, Li Taihang said, Okay, I'll go wash up. Put away your tricks from now on. They are not suitable for this place. Xiong who didn't quite understand. I'll go and get busy too. Sun Bohu said, covering his crotch and rushing to the toilet. Lu Tong glanced at the three of them and said, Don't worry, brotherly is different. He won't bully you. You just need to help him when he needs you. You should just be yourself at other times. By the way, don't be arrogant and cause trouble in the future. In this way, Brother Li won't be angry. Lu Tong felt that Sun Bohu was right in one point, so he borrowed his words to warn the three bears. In case they get into trouble again. Okay, Brother Lu. Xianxia responded. Yeah. Lu Tong didn't say anything more, walked past them and went to wash up. At this time, the three brothers were left looking at each other. Brother, this is different from what we imagined. Did we do something wrong? Second brother, I think we may have really thought too much. Our boss Li can't be like our leader. Yes, I think he is a very friendly and casual person. Although Xianxia is a little reckless, he is also very careful sometimes. He can feel what kind of person Li Taihang is based on his own feelings. Yeah. Xianxia nodded. Li Taihang did give him a different feeling. He couldn't say this feeling, but it was not as unreasonable as their leader. After washing up, Li Taihang prepared some buns and planned to let everyone eat them for breakfast. Lu Tong and Sun Bohu were very surprised when they saw it. Brother Li, do you still carry these buns with you? Well, after all, we still need to take care of our own diet now. Only after we are assigned tasks can we eat the meals of the sect. Yeah, that's right. Lu Tong, Sun Bohu and others brought money. They originally planned to buy food in the cafeteria, but they didn't expect Li Taihang to prepare food. Then, Li Taihang called Xianxia and the other two and said, you guys can eat too. As long as you are good brothers, I will not treat you unfairly. Li Taihang took out more than a dozen baskets of steamed buns, with various vegetable fillings and meat fillings. After the fragrant steamed buns were taken out, the three of them became excited again. Boss, can we really eat? Of course. Thank you. The three brothers Xiong and Hu said gratefully, they had no money, let alone food, and in the past 3 days, they were actually hungry. At most, they drank water and caught some small game to deal with, but after all, the three of them can eat, so how can eating so little be enough? That's why they wolfed down yesterday. Today, they can eat buns again, which is really touching. Li Taihang and the other two were also a little scared when they saw the three of them behaved too much. You won't be like this, right? Li Taihang said with a wry smile. Boss, in fact, we haven't eaten enough during this period of time. Xianxia complained to Li Taihang. Oh, now you eat as much as you can, and you'll be full. Really? Yeah. Pu bang. The three brothers Xiong and Hu knelt down and kowtowed, saying, Boss, you are our reborn parents. After seeing this, Li Taihang's mouth twitched directly, and he was a little speechless. You do have problems, you need to see a doctor. I'll give you some buns. Are you so excited? Hey, boss, you said you'll take care of our food in the future. No problem, I said, as long as you treat me well, I won't treat you badly. Yes, boss, rest assured, we will never let you down. Xiong was grateful to Li Taihang from the bottom of his heart, so the three brothers patted their chests and promised. Didn't they come to Xuantian's sect just to make a living?